How's it going, guys? So I'm just out checking a couple of our fields. Need to go through and spray the soybeans. Wanting to see if there's some weeds starting to grow in these fields. See a little bit of grass starting to grow there. Want to get that stuff out small. Pretty happy with how the beans are looking. The sprays work a lot better if we spray the weeds when they're less than 4 inches tall. They can take off on you and all of a sudden you have big weeds that you can't really kill. I think the next calm day we have, we'll go through and spray these fields. It's a little breezy today. This corn's actually shriveled up a little bit at this spot. Could use another rain shower. Just kind of curls up during the day. For the most part, the corn's looking really nice. This corn was no-tilled into the triticale stubble. No tillage, and it's really growing nice in this field. We like to see thick stalks on the corn. That's one thing that's going to give you better digestibility in the forage. The other day I went ahead and pressure washed the corn planter. Figured we're done with it for the year. Had to replant only 10 acres, so that was good. What I like to do after we pressure wash it is go ahead and grease it right away, just to get some grease into the bearings if we forced any water into those. And I'm gonna oil all the chains as well so these don't rust on us over the winter. Get some surface rust building up on some of this stuff, so I might spray some WD-40 or something on those. We're pretty happy with how the corn's looking this year, even though we felt like the corn planter didn't perform up to the highest standard. I think for next year we might just make a couple changes to this planter unless I find a better planter for a good deal. Probably something we need to look into is putting some sort of downforce on these units. Right now there's just these springs. So when you drop the planter down, the springs are what put pressure down on the unit. You can put airbags on these, or there's also hydraulic downforce. And the other thing we probably need to think about doing is putting some more weight in the frame of the planter. If we take the marker arm off the side, we would have access to the center of this metal frame here. This is hollow, so we could stick some weight in there, some rebar or something to add some extra weight to the planter, help it perform a little bit better. Now I'm just taking some PB Blaster and hitting this conceal knife. My dad's on his way back with some pipe we're picking up for our drainage that we're going to be installing in a couple weeks here. I think this is the 18-inch. We're getting 3 different sizes, and it's probably going to take multiple trips. We got some 18-inch and some 15-inch pipes on this trailer. He's got to go back for one more load.
It might bounce off the sides.
This stuff is not cheap. It's something we've been needing to do for a long time, so just we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna start working at getting our new feed room ready for the robot feeders. The mixing is gonna be done in this shop area. So this all needs moved then, but we're gonna start on this side of the wall. Got this pallet racking we want to get moved out because we're going to be using this space some for feeding stuff as well. What we're going to do is move that rack over to this side, just right along this wall. It'll fit in that gap and that'll be out of the way nice. Just got to start working our way through this stuff. There's some useful stuff here, but it's kind of been a collection of junk too, so we're taking the opportunity to throw stuff away that we're not going to really need. Bunch of tires we're gonna get rid of. Planter parts. This old torpedo heater that we never use. We got those racks cleared off. Had a bunch of scrap metal that we're gonna have to move over to the new shop area. There's not gonna be too much going on right here for the feeding, but we are gonna have the hay box. It's that forage wagon that we bought. There's gonna be a conveyor running through the wall into the shop area. And then the plan is right here, we're gonna have 2 mineral bins just for the heifer and dry cow mineral. They'll be in small bins with augers running out of them over to the feeder. So that'll be against this wall. We're gonna need a molasses tank too. I don't know if we're gonna keep that inside. Could potentially keep it in the building unless we have a good spot outside somewhere. Just not sure what we're gonna do yet. So then in the actual feed room, we're gonna have the 2 feeding robots. So one will be parked over there. That'll be where we load the feed in. The other one's gonna park here to charge. And then we're gonna have some space on this side. We'll be able to have some storage for parts and everything to maintain the silo unloaders and conveyors and feeders. And the office is gonna be staying as the new feeding office. I'm probably not gonna do my video editing in here anymore. Get some of my stuff out, and then we'll be able to keep our feeding computer in that room. Hey guys, so it's the next morning, and I'm out spraying soybeans right now. Getting up to the 90s during the day this week, so I need to get the spraying done when it's not so hot out and not so windy. Just before 6 a.m. right now. Thankfully there's not too much dew on the ground this morning, so that'll help make sure these sprays work good. Spraying's done for the year. Got done before 10 a.m. Starting to get pretty warm out. Not feeling too good today. Got some sort of virus I'm fighting, so probably not gonna film the milking. I'm gonna go milk cows in a bit. Hey guys, it's the next day now, so there's a couple things we gotta work out in the parlor this morning. Some parts we need to replace. We have these hose reels for the wash down hoses. There's a bearing right there that the water passes through, and this one's gotten really bad. You can see we're not holding water anymore. These things, they last a long time. They're made to grease, which I have greased it a couple times, but if I would do it more often, then they probably last even longer. Gotta turn this metal piece out and then somehow take this apart. I'm not sure how this all works. The other thing my dad's gonna work at is this piece. Just goes on our air compressor in the back room. Starting to leak air yesterday. Just that little line connects there to there. Not exactly sure what it does, but it was leaking air right here. It was just this little tip that broke off the one end. I'll start working on these hose reels. Engine 5/8 pipe wrench. Drew Scriver. See if it holds water. Unrolls so much easier now. That'll make all the milkers happy. This second one, it's not leaking yet, but you can see it's going bad as well. Here at first, it doesn't really take grease if you try to grease it, but what I need to do is make sure I grease it once a month or something. Get this flexible tube. Got to reattach to this air compressor. I'm out in our cornfield, right behind the bunker silos. Kind of interesting right here. We have two different varieties of corn right beside each other. I was planting the BMR brown midrib corn and I ran out. I had to fill the planter up with the non-BMR just to finish this last section. You can see right there the difference in the size of that corn. BMR stuff still looks pretty nice, but it's just a little shorter. Part of that might just be the way they grow. Sometimes some varieties of corn might grow faster or taller than others, and then later in the season they catch up. But I just thought it was interesting how obvious that difference is. Because here in this non-BMR stuff, this stuff's up at my chin, the highest pieces. And you get over here, the tallest ones are up at right about my mid chest. I do wonder if going with the non-BMR corn after into this triticale stubble is a better idea, because it just seems like the vigor is better. Look at the size difference between those two rows.